What's going on, guys? It's Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Knight of Ren from The Force Awakens. This is a figure that I missed out on when I first started collecting the Black Series back in 2019, and because of that I've got a little first order display, and I wanted to include this guy on that shelf, as the Knights of Ren were a major group of enforcers for that faction. I do have all 6 of the Knights of Ren in Funko Pop form, and I really wish that Hasbro would just do the other 5 members of the Knights of Ren. I would love to have them as a crew stacked up on the shelf. This was to my knowledge, a mainline release for the Black Series back in 2019, and I'm really happy to have it in hand now. This is what used to be the standard packaging for the Black Series. You have the Black Series logo up at the top, you have a nice plastic window here showing you the figure and its accessories, you have a really nice illustration done in black and white, as well as the character's name down at the bottom. On the side here, you have the number 105 as the mainline waves were all just one continuous line of figures, and then the name Knight of Ren again. On the back of the box, you do have that same number 105, and you have that same illustration we saw on the front of the box, blown up quite a bit, your Black Series logo, the character's name, and a bio in about 1 million different languages, and this one reads, "An enclave of masked warriors wielding distinct weapons for ranged and close quarters combat, the Knights of Ren are elite, fearsome war enforcers of Kylo Ren." And then on this side here, you just have the Knight of, and then again, the smaller text, the Knight of Ren. Aside from that, that's pretty much all there is to say about the packaging. I'm excited to get this one open and check it out. Alright, here is the Knight of Ren out of the box. Before we check out the figure, let's check out his 2 accessories. And for some reason, these accessories remind me a lot of Gears of War for some reason. This first one here is his melee weapon, and the thing with these guys was each of them had a unique helmet and a unique melee weapon. This guy's got this kind of scythe, I guess you would call it, weapon. It's very short. This is the kind of grip area down here. It's got some nice weathering and paint apps here, and I'm very impressed with the amount of detail that went into this accessory. I mean, it was, Disney's set of movies, so I could understand, the extra attention to detail here. But again, just really impressed by the amount of detail on this accessory, with the wash and just the amount of different colors you get. And then you have this one, even more reminds me of Gears of War than the other one does, this blaster pistol here. You've got a nice wrapping that's painted on the grip of the blaster, and you just have, again, a really nice wash all throughout the blaster. It's dirty, it's grimy, and it looks really cool. Very Star Wars. And now let's check out our Knight of Ren here. So this guy looks awesome. I really don't know how I feel right out the gate about this big kind of hard goods, rubbery plastic trench coat here. I like the weathering though. The amount of just dirt and grime all over this guy looks great. None of it looks too tacky, I would say. It looks just as good as it needs to be. I think it looks a lot nicer than just doing your basic, just stark black, completely clean look. These guys were enforcers of the First Order. They should be dirtied up. The helmet too just looks awesome. I love almost the like pinhead vibe that you get from this, with all the different little squares on the front and the stripes on the top, and then you see kind of the similar look to Kylo Ren's helmet on the back part here. Checking out his articulation real quick, you do have this looks like a double ball joint at the top of the head, so you're going to get some nice range there. You're going to get some really nice down and some really nice up too, which is something you don't see a lot for Black Series figures. You do have some really good tilt as well here, and again, he can obviously twist his head back and forth. You do have some butterfly joints, which are hidden underneath the loose rubbery overlay of the upper tunic here, and you can see that you're going to get some good range out of that. You can lift these shoulders up and they can get just past 90 degrees, and they can swivel a full 360 degrees. He's got some deep cut single jointed elbows here. Those, when they bend, will get you past that 90-degree mark, and there is a swivel at that elbow as well. For the wrists, he does have a vertical hinge on the right wrist, and then on the left wrist he has a horizontal hinge. Got a ball joint here at the midsection, which is going to also give you some very nice range, and then the ball joints at the hip hips. These are interesting because they are definitely hindered by the skirt piece here, which is kind of a disappointment. But because it's textured, I'll give it a pass. Usually I prefer the soft goods down here so you can actually articulate the legs. But in this case, like I said, it gets a pass because it's so textured. He's got a cut for a thigh swivel up here. He's got some deep cut single jointed knees. Now you can't get these past more than like 45 degrees because of the back of the coat. However, they have the ability to bend up to 90 degrees, and there of course is a swivel at the knee too. And then he does have a forward facing pin for rocker, as well as a hinge at the ankle, which goes forward just a very, very minuscule amount and goes back quite a bit too. So again, got some very solid articulation. Upper half of this figure is amazing for articulation. Bottom half, not so much. Let's get his accessories in hand. So as far as the blaster goes here, I don't think I ever saw this one particularly use a blaster. The trigger finger does fit nicely into the trigger guard, as you can see, making it very easy for him to hold the blaster and it to look natural. Now it looks like you can actually holster this blaster as well. I'm just not really sure about how you go about that. Maybe you stretch these bands around so that the blaster kind of sits in there. Not really sure how you go about this. Maybe you go up and then down. Not sure. Yeah, so it looks like you just kind of mash it into the bottom strap here, and then you're going to kind of warp its way into the top one, and then it kind of sits just like this in between. So very cool design, just a little bit gimmicky to get it in there. And he can actually hold his blaster when it's in the holster by the grip, which is cool too. But obviously we got to get his scythe weapon in hand here. So he's going to hold it in the right hand by the grip, and that's obviously a very loose, not very good grip at all. And that's because of the blaster that I just put in that hand. So you're going to need the assistance of the offhand. And now that we've got this weapon in hand here, you can see it looks very, very cool. You can get the legs to go out a little bit. You just have a harder time getting them to go backwards, but you know, you can still get some wider stances very, very easily with this guy. Just trying to get some different angles from some different swings, maybe, you know, different ways that he would kind of swing the weapon at you. Here's a good one right here. This dude gives me anime vibes a little bit, so I kind of gave him a goofy little anime run pose here. I think that it actually looks cool, but it's still, in my eyes, it's like anime run. But there you go, guys. That's just a quick little review of this figure. I'm a big fan of the Knights of Ren. Regardless of your opinion of the sequel trilogy, I think they're super cool. So if you see this figure out, I know he goes for relatively cheap now in the aftermarket, so I'd highly recommend picking him up if you see him. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check out my social media. All of my links are in the description below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.